What's up, guys? This is Jimmy from The Aesthetic Professional. Today I want to take you through a bit of an update on how I've been training in quarantine, a little bit about my $80 or so gym that I put together, and how to make the most of this situation. Now, it's obviously not ideal. It's unrealistic to think you're going to make great progress or as good a progress as you would in the gym, but you can still make some progress. You can still have fun with it, and this is certainly not the time to just throw in the towel and say, look, I'm not gonna make any progress here. It's not even worth training. Because if you get a little bit creative, if you continue to work hard, you can still make a bit of improvement. And so obviously I'm not quarantining in Chicago. I'm so extremely fortunate to be able to quarantine remotely, but everything that I talk about will be applicable regardless. So progressive overload is still king, and when I first got out here, I started doing some higher rep, kind of work capacity focused volume stuff, and you can absolutely do that. And if you have no equipment, I think that's your best bet. So if you're doing as many push-ups as you can do in 25 minutes or something like that, and then try to do a few more each week, that works. I did that. I didn't like it as much. I mean, I love the heavy strength training, and so I forced myself to work a little bit harder to try to figure out a solution that would be effective even in this situation. And the key thing that the key realization that I came to is you really only need one exercise that really works for each body part. You need one exercise that you can make progress on, and that is going to drive the majority of your results. So I'm going to take you through each of mine and how I kind of set it up, and I'll talk about my split a little bit later. And so for shoulders to start, I'm doing an OHP variation. So what I have is I have two 5-gallon buckets over there, metal pipe with caps on the end, and then I fill each bucket with the same number of bricks. This backyard has some bricks in it, and I'm able to do overhead press that way. And it's perfect. I am kind of nearing, I'm close to running out of space, and I'll figure out kind of a better way from there. Maybe sand will be a bit heavier and fill the buckets without so much empty space, but I'll work on that when I get there. Right now I can still make progress. Each of those buckets actually ends up being, the last time I did it was 70 pounds each, and if you figure the bar is 15 pounds, 155 pounds or so for overhead press isn't that bad. And the way that I'm doing this is I'm doing 10 by 5 for each movement. I'm taking about 2 minutes rest in between sets, and that's a full workout. So I will do 10 sets of 5 reps, try to go as heavy as I can, and do a little bit more each week. And I'll talk a little bit more specifically about the split later, but for overhead press and for hitting my shoulders, that's all I do. I don't do any banded, lateral raises. I don't do anything like that. I wanted to go heavy, and this works. Yeah, so really, I mean, I think the bar was like 15 bucks and the buckets were like $5 a piece or something, and then I just was able to find the bricks, so that was pretty cheap and pretty nice. Moving on to back. Back, I am doing weighted pull-ups, and I am using kind of a homemade TRX. And so to kind of give you the overview there, that's super simple. I literally just Googled it and I found it. And so I got packing straps, which are like very thick nylon straps with hooks on the end. That was like 18 or 20 bucks. And then I got 2 like 1-foot pieces of rope, and then 2 6-inch pieces of PVC for the handles. So it's very simple. I think that was like 30 bucks or something all in. And I have this kind of gazebo trellis thing that I'm able to throw it over, and then I can do pull-ups there. And so I did buy a belt. I don't have my belt with me, my dipping belt, but I got one for like 16 bucks on Amazon. Wrap that around my waist, and then I can again fill the bucket with bricks. That I am out of space, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do there. I think I'm going to maybe head back to the hardware store and get some sand. But either way, 10 by 5 with about 90 pounds or so, which is kind of like the capacity with the bricks based on my scale, is pretty good. I mean, I will not lose, I will not go backwards at the very least. I might even be able to make some progress, but I'm not going to go backwards. Now, I don't have quite enough weight for any of these exercises to do, all out 5 rep maxes, but 10 by 5s, kind of working the work capacity in a very relatively low rep range, I think is a great way to still get that heavy stimulation, and while kind of taking advantage of only having one movement, because you can't do, okay, I'm gonna do 3 sets of this and I'm gonna do 3 sets of this. You only have that one movement. So that's back. We talked about shoulders. For chest, I'm doing weighted dips again with the same TRX. Right now it's around there twice, and then I undo it, and then I have a little bit more room, so I can just kind of barely jump off the ground and get into the dipping position. And that's all I'm doing for chest. Same thing, 10 by 5. Again, kind of reaching capacity there, but it gets me very close. Utilizing the weighted body weight, I think, is a great thing to do now, because it just requires the least amount of equipment. For biceps, I am using kind of the same setup that I'm using for OHP and doing curls that way. Again, 10 by 5, plenty of runway there. And then for legs, I am doing pistol squats, maybe 5 by 5 with a few bricks in my hands, and then also doing walking lunges. And then so, that's pretty much it. I'm doing, when I can. I've been extremely busy at work, but when I can, I try to get out and hike or walk. Make sure I kind of stay active there. I think that helps quite a bit, mentally and physically, of course. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And so for my split, this is what I've been doing. Like I said, I've been extremely busy at work. I get up, 5:30 a.m. every day for a call, local time, and then I work at least until 6 or so. I get the workout in, I eat dinner, and then I go back to work, for the rest of the night, whenever that ends. So it's been extremely busy, but because it's kind of easy to get into a routine, because you're not going anywhere, you don't have events to go to. What I've been doing is effectively one exercise a day for 5 days a week, except for legs, that's 2 exercises. But yeah, so I'll do, the first day, shoulders, OHP 10 by 5, second day, weighted pull-ups 10 by 5, dips 10 by 5, and biceps 10 by 5, and then for the legs, I'll do maybe 5 by 5, and then like a couple hundred meters of walking lunges, and that's it. The only thing that I didn't mention is triceps. I think triceps, I get plenty of activation from the dips and the OHP, so I'm pretty much well covered. I got to get a little bit creative on figuring out how to add a bit more weight, but I'm not really worried about it, because this was so easy and so inexpensive that I'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it. But this is definitely a difficult scenario. It's not great. I hope everyone out there is staying safe, but you shouldn't simply make the excuse that all of your training needs to go on hold. Frankly, I couldn't imagine doing that. It helps me kind of stay sane during this crazy time. If you are a little bit creative, if you use kind of hardware store stuff and what you have available at your house, you can make great progress. If the parks are open and you can get a dipping belt for 15 or 16 bucks on Amazon, you're most of the way there. You really are. You're most of the way there. I mean, if you don't have the other items that I have here, if you can get adjustable dumbbells for curls, you can do lateral raises with those, you can do overhead press with those, or handstand push-ups. Just get creative and don't just throw in the towel. I'm not trying to sell a program here or anything like that. I'm simply sharing what I'm doing, and then hoping that if you're not already, that this will inspire you to go out and kind of get training again. So with that, as always, feel free to leave any questions or comments below. But regardless, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate the support.